guess I have to do a quick introduction, right? You know what I'm talking about. Because there's a certain man that truly loves Indiana. And he loves our country dearly, dearly. But here's the story, because I checked it, and I knew it was good. I didn't even know it was this good, but, you know, Bobby called me up. He called me up about a year ago, and he said to me, hey, Don, tack this side of the run. I was thinking, and you know, we have a chance, honestly, and I see this because no matter what we can't slip. We can't have another 4 years of effectively Obama again. We can't. So Bobby called and he said, you know, if you ever run, if you decide to run, because people were talking maybe I'd run, if you decide to run, I would love to endorse you, to help you if you decide to run, because you can be like good, really. So I said, you know, Bobby, I really appreciate that. First, I had to make sure it was really him. And we did. And it was really him. I said, give me a number, Bobby. He gives me a number. I put it down. I put it aside. And that was a year ago. And then on June 16th, I decided to run. And who knew that Indiana usually, you know, it's over or something, but all of a sudden, Indiana's going to have such an unbelievable impact on the decision on who it's going to be. And I'm the only one going to beat Hillary, and we'll beat her so bad. There's a couple of guys, and I watched Ted Cruz this morning. Oh, I can't listen. So dramatic. Can't watch. So anyway, I called Bobby. I said, hey, Bobby, it's Donald Trump. He goes, I've been waiting for this call. That was 3 weeks ago. I said, is the offer still good? He said, it's good, it's good. When do you want to do it? And we did it last night, and the place went crazy, okay? Because he's a leader. He was such a, we like that. I mean, we need it. And that's what we need in the country. We don't win anymore, we're going to start winning again. So I'm with his friend, and Charlie's back there, great friend of Bobby, and he said, I said, give me the whole thing. I knew he won the 3 national championships. He won the Olympics. He won the Pan Am Games. He won 900 games. Then he had the perfect season, okay? He had and I didn't realize this. In fact, I was surprised. There hasn't been a perfect season since. And he said, I said, do you mind if I talk about, because the season before that wasn't so bad. He lost 1 game, right? He said, and it was my fault as a coach, Donald. And I want you to tell them that. Just say, if he didn't screw up, he would have had 2 perfect seasons. I said, Bobby, I can't say that. He said, say it, it's okay. It was my fault. I mean, think of it. He had 1 loss, and then the next season he had a perfect season. And he loves you people. That I can tell you. So I want to introduce a total absolute winner, smart, tough, he's got the whole package. And the fact that he endorsed me means a lot. And then I'm going to come back and we'll talk for a little while, okay? Bobby,
let me first tell you that I was very, very selective with players during the time I was here. And I'll tell you one thing, that man that was just up here a moment ago, I'll tell you, that son of a bitch could play for me. For me, because I have for some time, leading up to where we are now, felt that a above anything else, this country needed Donald Trump. That was before I ever even got to know him. I thought that just reading about him and studying about him, and I think it's a tremendous opportunity that you folks have. You know, I have never voted. I'm not here to represent the Republican Party. You know, quite frankly, I don't give a damn about the Republicans. That we have, as Americans, a great opportunity not to represent a political party, but to pick the best man that we have available to lead the United States back to where we want it to be. This man's not a Republican, he's not a Democrat. At heart, he's just a great American. And you will find, as time progresses, that I was a history major in college, and I spent a lot of time studying about history, and I've gotten to know a little bit about politics. I've studied that. But just believe me when I tell you that there has never been a person with a background that has better prepared him for entrance into the White House than the backing, all that he's done, the things that he's gone through, what he's done, the businesses that he has erected, and even some of the problems that he's had, because what he's done that nobody we have now can do. What Mr. Trump has done is when things have gone wrong, he hasn't lied and complained about it. He's figured out how the hell to fix it. He's going to take that folks adopted. And I just want to thank you for how said about how and they played with a uniform that said on it, Indiana. And that's something that I'll tell you what, you can stand long enough till your ass is dragging now. That's why I want you to sit down and relax a little bit here. That's great.
Do it for Bobby!
I mentioned this, that I'm not here to represent the Republicans or the Democrats. You know, I think the party makes a damn bit of difference because I want to throw two names out to you that I will forever be grateful for having known. And they were Doc Bullen and Bert Stock. One was the other was a Democrat, but both of them were Indiana people. And that's the same thing with Donald Trump. More than anything else, not a Republican, not a Democrat, not born here, he's an American. If you folks will get together and go out and vote for this man, you will be putting him on the first step for the United States to recover. You just vote for him, and he'll do the rest. He needs you to get it started, and he'll do the rest, and we will be so proud of what he's doing. I can't even tell you what the kind of pride we'll have in this country when that happens. Tell you my little story that I think is important. I like this story, kind of made it up myself. I always kind of thought that when I coached I was in charge. You know, I didn't need somebody else to tell me who to play or how to play or anything else. But I'm a great fan of the man in charge, the man or the lady in charge. And whichever, male, female, just the person in charge. And I'm going to tell you my story, how it relates to Donald Trump, because he is going to be the person in charge. Johnny comes in to see his dad. Dad, did Mom tell you I passed the driver's test today? Yes, son, she did tell me that. I'm so proud of you. She said that the state trooper that gave you the test, the exam, and the written part of it, the driving part, he said you were the best he's ever had, the best he's ever tested. Johnny, that is spectacular. That's great. Well, Dad, now that I got a license, am I going to be able to use the car once in a while? Your car or Mom's car? Or what do you think? And he said, well, son, I knew this day would come. You know, all of us as parents, we've had that when our kids wanted to drive the car. I knew this would come, son, but there are some prerequisites. Number one, your grades have slipped. Number two, Mom isn't real happy with the way you treat your brother and your sister. Number three, we've got a couple of other things where you're supposed to be doing some wonderful things and you haven't gotten it done. And these are prerequisites, son, that when you get hold of, and then we'll talk about the car. But now, there's one other thing too in this little group of prerequisites with the car, and it's that damn long hair of yours. I'm tired of seeing it. I've told you about it, and that's one of these prerequisites. And when you come, Dad looks at him and said, well, son, I think you're here to talk to me about our prerequisites. I said, Mom, is everything I've required of you as you've done, you've accomplished. And he said, well, Dad, among other things, in it, and suggestions and thought of his son, and he said, because of you, because you suggested that I spend time reading the Bible. And when I was reading the Bible, I found that Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, and Jesus himself all had long hair, Dad. And his dad looked at him, and this is the kind of man in charge we all want. His dad looked at him and he said, son, you are absolutely right about that. And they walked their ass and we got here. I think that just a couple of things about Mr. Had a tremendous job, a tremendous responsibility in the United States, but all over the world. This man has created across the world, and he has a great reputation, a great feeling people have for him, and his intelligence and his diligence all over the world. This man isn't just here in our country. He's a man that's highly thought of for what he's done, what he's contributed. Now, with all the businesses that he's developed and all the things that have been successful, he's also like all of us. He's had some problems. This thing went kind of screwy. This thing went wrong. Like we all have. But you know, what he was able to do in all of those circumstances, and this is what we haven't had anybody in the White House be able to do, he figured out how to correct things. When something went wrong, he figured out a way to correct it. And he figured a bigger way, a better way to do something. And that's going to be astronomical as far as this country is concerned. A man who not only gets things done, but he gets things done in the right way. And when something needs to be corrected, he can correct it. Now, I'll guarantee you a couple of things in the Trump administration. Number one, how many of you have sons, daughters, friends, or whatever, military people who are kind of spread out around the world? How many, and wherever they might be, we in a Trump administration will never, ever have anything close to what happened in Benghazi. those people who failed to take care of those 4 men that never came back from that Benghazi situation, that will never happen under a Trump administration. Have not had a particularly great relationship over the years. Donald Trump will settle that the first day he's in office. Because he has tremendous respect for the military. And with that, I want every person in here, male or female, that has had any association with any branch of the United States military to please stand. That's the kind of respect that he will have for our military structure. And I think it will be a tremendous step forward for the United States. I mentioned the thing about jobs, so important to all of us. This man will find jobs, he'll create jobs, he'll work on having jobs for his American constituents. I just think that just be an absolute shame if we continue going in the same direction. Now, one other thing I'd like to ask you about the military is, how many Navy people did we have in the military over all these years? Navy people, I want you Navy people to hold your hands up. Okay, good. Now, I want you to know this, though. You may not like this. I want you to know this. I spent 8 years at West Point with the Army. And Navy, I love you, I respect you, and we beat your ass every time we play. But what we'll see now is a great relationship between the White House and the military. And they will be able to count on us, and we will be able to count on them. Another ability to get the right people in the right position, right positions, and also he has a way of getting rid of the people that shouldn't be there. I've talked now enough, and as I said, I'll always be grateful about the opportunity to have you coach in Indiana because of you people and your approach to basketball. I hope that as I have visited with you here today, I hope that I have made an impact on your thinking relative to the opportunity that we have to make America great again and to keep America to do that, we need a leader. And right there to my right is the best leader in the world. And he will far more than reach the things that we are hoping for and we want for this country. As I step away from this podium, I hope as I do that, you people will think for just a moment and you'll say to yourselves, each and every one of you, damn it, how soon can I go out and vote for that guy? I hope that's what
Well, if you could get Bobby Knight, that would be good. So there's nobody like him. So thank you very much. We have so many things to do. I have so much time. I'm not leaving you yet. We're going to be here. And I'll be here enough that you're going to be sick of me. You're going to say, oh, when's he getting out, right? When's he getting out? We're going to do great here. And I guess all of the polls are indicating we're going to do well. And it's very important. Getting out to vote on Tuesday is so important. We have a movement going on. You know, in a way, I call it the smart movement. We want to be smart again. We're not smart anymore, folks. We don't win anymore, but we're not smart anymore. So we call it the smart movement, and that's what I want to have. So let me ask you, is there somebody named Chad here? He was wearing a blue shirt. He was on television this morning on NBC. Where's Chad? You know, because outside we have thousands. My Chad. He was so great. He was so great. On NBC, I was watching this morning, and they were interviewing. He's standing in line for hours, right? Hours. And they come up to him and they start saying, well, what do you think? I love Trump. You know, these guys are the world's most dishonest people. They want you to change. And he wasn't, you weren't changing for anybody, were you, Chad? I love this guy. So I said, I'm going to mark it down. If I see Chad, I want to give him a little shout out. Thank you. You know, we have... Now tomorrow you'll see Chad announces that he's running for mayor. Thank you very much, Chad. We have the most loyal people of anybody. And that's in the polls. That's not me saying it, you know, in the polls. In fact, they said something like 92%, whereas 30 and 20 and 10 is sort of common. If Cruz sneezes, if he just sneezes, his people leave him. Believe me. Nobody. Who can listen to him? Today, you know, I've been campaigning. We're going to end Obamacare. We're going to protect our Second Amendment. We're going to end common core. We're going to and then I'm watching this morning, and Lion Ted, I never heard anything like it. Donald Trump loves Obamacare. I love Obamacare. I mean, my whole thing is we're going to end it. And I hear him say, and I said to a few people who were watching it, I said, let me ask you, do people believe this when he says that? It's terrible. It's terrible. And that's why in the Senate he's known as a liar. Marco Rubio, who's a good guy, called him a liar during the debate. Remember that? He said, you're a liar. I said, that's great. When another senator can call a senator a liar, I said, now I can do it also. So it's great. So we came up with Lion Ted. L-Y-I-N, boom, hyphen. But it's true. It's terrible. And now he's getting creamed in the polls, and he lost the last 5 elections. He was saying, I'm the only one that can beat Donald Trump. I have proven it time and time again. And I said, oh, please. And I'm killing him. And he said, I won 7 times. Remember the debate? And I said, yeah, but I won 21 times. And he looked. I said, I won 7 times. I mean, it's like unbelievable. So now he's getting clobbered, and he goes to New York last week, and they ran him out of the place. You can't run. And nobody else, honestly, because it's very important that we win. We got to beat Hillary Clinton. Crooked Hillary Clinton. She's crooked. She's crooked. But you know, no Republican other than me understand it. And for years and years, they don't even go to New York in campaign. They assume that's lost. If somebody ever won New York, it totally, with the Electoral College, it totally changes the map. And I think we'll win New York. I really do. I think we're going to win Michigan. And you can't win. As a Republican, you can't win. And Michigan's a great example. Nobody else will go to Michigan. I'll be encamped in Michigan because I think we can win it. So we're going to win states that nobody thought were winnable as a Republican, and we're going to do really great. But so I love this. The whole political world. It's so evil. I mean, it's so evil. You hear about people that you've never heard of before. It's Corker, who's fantastic. So we have a lot of great people. We have a lot of great people. Jeff Sessions, Senator Sessions, he's fantastic. And there are others. And once we get to the top, it's going to be so magnificent. I mean, so magnificent. But then we went to Pennsylvania. We went to all these people. He didn't even. He went and they said, "Don't even come here." Came to Indiana and he starts lying. That's why I wanted to get here fast. I didn't want to lie. I didn't take a big vacation afterwards. I I said, I better get back to Indiana fast. I said, get me Bobby Knight really fast. I went to out in Long Island, Bethpage, and I was all over the place. And it's the same thing. The businesses are being sucked out of our country. And where you go, it's like 40%, it's like 50%, 60%, jobs are gone. And I'm the one that brings up Carrier all the time. This morning, I hear Cruz. He said, and Carrier air conditioning, I've been talking about this company for 4 months. All of a sudden, he starts talking about Carrier. Carrier's my baby. I want to do the number of Carrier, folks. I don't like what they do. Now, Cruz was actually defending them, which is interesting. I was a little, he said, we should really defend. But you don't want to defend. When they leave, they let go of 1,400 people to move to Mexico. And you know what? They have to pay a consequence when they do that. They have to pay a consequence. They have to pay. And they want to move, that's fine. And they let them go viciously. It was almost like they were like under The Apprentice, right? All right, 1,400 people, you're fired! Oh, it's pretty rough. They had some mid-level, upper mid-level management guy, and somebody had the cell phone up. Those are dangerous. But they had the cell phone, and I saw it on television, and I thought it was terrible. I thought the way he did it was terrible. Basically, he said, we're letting everybody go, you're fired, but we're letting everybody go, and we're moving to Mexico. Oh, thanks a lot. And some of these people, they're following me. Is anybody here from Carrier today? Because they're all over the place, every place I go. But what happens is, so they let him go, and Carrier has to know that if they do that, and I'm not only speaking to them, I'm speaking to Nabisco and Ford and hundreds of other companies. They have to know that there are consequences when you want to leave and fire all these people. And you're not just going to go to another country, make your product, sell it across our really weak borders, because our borders are going to be so strong, folks. Our borders will be so strong. So you're just not going to make your product, sell it across the borders, and this goes for all, not just air conditioners. And I would tell them. Now, ideally, I tell them early. And in all fairness, you need the federal government has to set a standard. You can't do it from just a local basis, unless they're moving to another state. Then you got to find it out. But we're keeping them in the country. But people aren't doing that. They're moving to Mexico. Mexico is a mini China right now. If you look at the automobile industry, what's going on in Mexico is incredible. NAFTA is a disaster. NAFTA was one of the worst things ever signed. In the history of this country, from an economic standpoint, NAFTA, it sucked our jobs away. It sucked them away. And John Kasich approved NAFTA when he was in Congress. He was a deciding vote for NAFTA. And it was signed by President Bill Clinton. There's a relative that's going to be running for office. Signed by Clinton. No, but I mean, you look at your empty factories, you look at what's going on, you look at, by the way, and you talk about an industry that's getting hit, take a look at your steel industry, and I know what to do to fix it, folks, believe me. These guys don't, these politicians don't. Look at your steel industry in Indiana. And you look at U.S. Steel and these great companies at one time, and now it's like they're just not the same deal. And we're going to change it around. China is dumping like crazy. They're dumping all over the place. And people said to me, oh, but maybe the product's going to cost more. And that's true. They never say the second part. But we're going to have jobs, and that's going to more than offset the price, because we're going to have jobs again. We're going to have jobs. Our jobs are being taken away. And we're going to have a time, if I win, where Apple is going to make its product in the United States. So Kasich approved NAFTA. You look at Cruz, and he doesn't want to talk about China's manipulation of their currency, because TPP, Trans-Pacific Partnership, study it and remember the words. Because if I don't get in, I'll bet you it gets approved, and that will make NAFTA look like a baby. That's big time. That's not Mexico and this, that's 12 countries. They are going to do a number, and then China's going to be lurking in the background. They're not involved with it, but they are actually involved. because if they love it, they're going to come right through the back door. This is a 5,000-page document that nobody in our country, in my estimation, has ever read. Probably never even looked at it. And all of the countries that are beneficiaries of it, meaning taking our money, our jobs, and everything else, they know every single word. They know where the commas are. They know where the paragraphs begin. And we don't have anybody that reads documents. You know, when you looked at Obamacare, it was thousands of pages, and nobody read it. Nobody read it. It's a disaster, by the way, total disaster. Your rates are going up 35, 45, 55%. It's a disaster. Nobody read it. Nobody even knows how to define it. The only way you can do it is you have to buy books, the definition, and they tell you chapters. It's horrible. It's horrible. Trans-Pacific Partnership is a disaster. So here's what happens. Okay, and we have to go back because you all know how I feel. Just trust me. Trade, you're going to be so happy. You're going to be so proud of your country. You're going to be so proud of me. I didn't need this. I built this great company. I have a nice life. I said, oh, what do I do? What do I do? My wife always says, are you sure you want this? I said, yeah, we're going to make America great again. We're going to do something great. It's very important. It's very important. My daughter Ivanka, who's so great, she's such a terrific person. So she loves the country. She said, Dad, it's a lot of work. You know, when I do this, and then I do 3 more today. And she said, Dad, do you enjoy it? And actually, I enjoy it. I must be honest. I think it's a dirty business. It's a hard business. It's a rigged deal. I mean, the whole thing is rigged. You know, if I wasn't winning by so much, I'd have no chance. Because all the delegate stuff is rigged. I mean, it's rigged. You look at Louisiana, which I won. And that's where I found out. The state of Louisiana is where I found out, in all fairness. And then it happened in Wyoming, even worse, because they didn't get a chance to vote. And then it happened in Colorado, where they never voted. The bosses picked the winners. The boss. Not the boss. I don't know. I want people to vote. But in Louisiana, I wasn't supposed to win. That was cruise territory. Heavy on evangelicals who love me, because they don't like liars. Remember with the Bible? The Bible held high and they lied. But I've been winning with the evangelicals by a lot, because they know 2 things. Pastor Jeffress said it. They know Pastor Jeffress has been incredible. If you look at Jerry Falwell Jr., who has been amazing at Liberty University, so many of the pastors and ministers and people that really understand, they say, you know, we need strength. We need protection. Like with the women. I won the women in New York by a tremendous margin. I mean, there's nobody cherishes and nobody respects women more than Donald Trump. That I can tell you. And I won it so big in New York. And I was saying to somebody, women are going to do, I will be so much better to women than Hillary Clinton. So much better on health care issues. And you know what else? On the protection of our country. Because ultimately, that's number 1, 2, and 3. We have to protect our country. We are in an evil world right now. We are in the most evil world. It's one of the most evil times ever. And I'm going to protect our country. And everybody agrees to that. Even the congressman that didn't like me said, well, I agree that Trump is tougher, and I agree that maybe he'll be better with the military. Well, once you're better with that, that's like about 80% of it. But we'll protect our country. We're going to make our military so strong, so powerful. Cheapest thing we can do. That nobody's going to mess with us, and we're going to take care of our vets, who are treated far worse in many cases than illegal immigrants. Far worse. And we're going to make our vets proud that they serve us. Proud. You know what else? They're not being treated. So, we've been doing really well. But then, all of a sudden, we had this massive victory in New York where I got everything. I mean, I got virtually everything. You know, the dishonest media back there, they're saying like, well, let's see. Trump probably can't break 45. Well, we got almost 62. And that's hard when you have 3 people running. And you know, it's also hard. We had states where I had 9 people, and I get like 32 and win the state, and they'd say, he didn't break 50. Now, they're not stupid. They know you can't. You have 9 people. So we're doing good. We broke, and now we come to the next. New York was fantastic. And you know what the nice part about New York, which affects you? The New York people, the voters, know me better than anybody, okay? They know everything about Donald Trump. I mean, that's where I go. You know, it's been a long time I've been doing this, okay? Not this, but I've been out there a long time. And to get a landslide, which was almost 100%, far greater even than the polls, and every aspect and every location in the city did phenomenally well, and you win with numbers that nobody ever thought was possible. And those are the people that know you. So even if you come from Indiana or you come from someplace else, it's nice that the people that know you best can give you that kind of, like for instance, if you do Hillary and you go to Arkansas, she doesn't do great in Arkansas, that's where she comes from. I'll beat her in Arkansas. She comes from Arkansas. And the truth is, they abandoned their state. I mean, they abandoned Arkansas, right? They abandoned Arkansas. So I don't know why. I mean, I'll say it. Nobody else will say it. Nobody else will say it. They abandoned Arkansas for New York. And as far as New York, they're not real New Yorkers because they didn't come from New York. So either way, they can't win, okay? We'll win both of them. But it's interesting because, so now Cruz is getting clobbered. Now, we win New York. Lion 10. That's right. Let's go. Lion 10. He's one lion. One dishonest guy. So here's what happens. So now I win New York, this is incredible victory. Then we go to the 5 states, and these are very different because you have Delaware and Rhode Island, then you have Maryland, Connecticut, and you have Pennsylvania. Big. So you have 3 big ones, you have 2 beauties on each end, very diverse, very different. The one thing they have in common, they're all losing a lot of jobs to other countries. They're tremendous, 45-50%. You know, it used to be, I'd say to my statisticians, give me the information, like on Delaware, and then give me Pennsylvania the next day, and give me Maryland. And it was almost like 45% loss, 50% loss, 55% loss, manufacturing gone. But I almost didn't need it. I just go up, I have to say, hey, you got about 50% of your jobs that are being lost. Every place, all over the country. It's like a disaster. They're being taken away from us, and the politicians don't know how to do anything about it. So Cruz is getting absolutely killed. Kasich is getting absolutely killed. Think of it. Kasich is now 1 for 38 or 42 or something. He won 1. And if I campaigned there for 2 days more, I would have won. 2 days more. I left Florida. I was all set to go to Ohio, and I had a dirty poll put out by the media. A dirty poll. You know what that is? A phony poll. And it said, because I was going to win Florida easily. And Florida was set up so that it was meant for Jeb. Well, Marco was a good guy, Marco, I have to tell you. And Jeb is going to come around. I really believe it. But it was meant for the establishment, not for me. Winner take all. When they heard I was in the race, winner take all. Meaning the establishment will get 100% of the 99 delegates. That's one of the biggest, Florida's a great place. Great governor, Rick Scott, great guy, great governor, doing a great job. A lot of jobs coming in. Florida's doing great. So 99 delegates, winner take all. And then 2 weeks after they formally did that, a poll comes out. There were like 6 people, 7 people. Donald Trump had almost 50% of the vote. They said, whoa, we got to go back. This is no good. And then I won Florida. Big. I wouldn't have. But it's a big deal. You see, it's rigged. And what happened is, with Louisiana, I was down like 4 or 5 points. But I know people in Louisiana, like I know people here. The Hillbirds, I have so many friends here. And they're unbelievable people. And I said, let's go to Louisiana. I got 3 days. Let's go around and campaign. I've never done it, so it's fun for me, right? I've been doing this for 9 months. Am I doing a good job for 9 months? It's funny. When the results came out a couple of days ago, and it was Trump wins in a landslide all of those 5 states, and Trump wins in a landslide in New York the week before. And one of the pundits, who actually hates me, which is interesting, but said, the amazing thing? He's only been doing this for 9 months. He's meeting these senators and these governors. They've been there for like 20 years and 30 years. He's been doing this for 9 months. But you know, you can be smart. You can be smart. And I've been dealing in politics for a long time. Nobody knows politicians. Believe me, nobody knows politicians like I know politicians. So with Louisiana, so I go on campaign. Then they have their election different from you. Yours is Tuesday. You gotta vote. Is everybody gonna vote on Tuesday? So it's different. They have their election on Saturday. And I go Friday night. I said, I'm gonna be there. And I land, and they have this massive, massive hangar. And the place is packed. Thousands and thousands and thousands of people. And it's brimming outside of the hangar, through the doors, practically through the windows. I mean, the people were all over the place, going back into the runways. And I said, I think they like me here. Just like outside. You know how many people? You're in this room. And then we have another room that's bigger, that's packed. And then outside, we have thousands of people listening to what I'm saying. It's like that, because we have a movement, and everyone's talking about it. I'll tell you, everyone's talking about it. So I go to Louisiana, and I campaigned for a few days, and I see there's something going on, because they want jobs, and they want strong military, and they want to get rid of Obamacare. They want all the things that we all want, right? They say Trump figured it out. There's nothing to figure out. People are making less money now in real wages than they made 20 years ago. And they're working harder, and some of them are working 2 jobs and they're making less. It's supposed to be the other way around as we get older, right? It's supposed to be. But don't feel bad, I'm working harder also, so I am working hard. But the truth is, look, I go to Louisiana, and I have this big rally, and the next day they have the election on a Saturday, and the results are announced that night. Trump wins. I wasn't supposed to, it was supposed to be Lyon, Ted Cruz wins. And I do great with the evangelicals, and they really brought me over the top. So I win Louisiana. Then about 2 weeks later, they're showing me everything, and they're showing how well I'm doing, because I'm winning South Carolina, I'm winning so many places, right? I won the South. I wasn't supposed to win the South. Alabama, Arkansas, we win Kentucky, we win Florida, we're winning all these places, some of which I was not supposed to be winning. And I win by landslides. Then we win in Massachusetts. I win Alabama, Massachusetts. That's quite diverse, right? So we went, and they're showing me how well I'm doing. And I see Louisiana. And then I see delegates. So I went by a lot of us, Louisiana. Then on here, this right-hand column, it says delegates. I said, wait a minute, what's wrong? They said, what's wrong, sir? I said, I won the state of Louisiana, but why do I have less delegates than Cruz, who I beat? Oh, well, he went there, and he started whining and dining all of these delegates. Bringing them out for steak dinners, bringing them out for steak. So consistent. So I said, wait a minute. So I won the state, but I get less delegates than this guy. That was my first. Who the hell would ever think this could happen? So then I hear about Colorado, right? Where they're whining and dining, and you know they were having people protesting on the streets. They took the vote away from. They didn't even have a vote because they went out to a poll. And I did great in the poll in Colorado, and I was going to win Colorado like I won Florida and other places. So they gave the vote to the bosses, and you go out and you wine and dine the delegates. All of a sudden they say, when are we going to Colorado? No reason to go, sir. I said, what do you mean no reason to go? Well, it's over. Colorado is all delegates, it's all, you know. They get wined and dined. I said, you can almost buy the election. Put $100 million worth of freebies in there. Let's go buy the election. So I said, it's a rigged system. So then I realized, and here's the good news, a lot of it, well, actually, Colorado's really unfair, so is Wyoming. Very, very bad. They got to change that, because that's big, because that actually counts on the front row. Because Cruz can't win when you have to get a vote. He can do it because they have this team of very good experts. I could get much better, got much more money than he does, but it's just an unfair. So here's the story. So now we start our streak. And we win in Arizona, and we're winning all over the place. And the only way it's working for me, I mean, I'm still not happy, and we're going to do it on the first ballot. And when you hear he signed all these delegates, they're signing them for second, third, fourth. They're not signing them for the first ballot. The first ballot, fortunately, they're locked in, right? They're all locked in. And Pennsylvania had the same thing. I won in a massive, massive landslide. And they had a great Republican chairman. And really a great guy, Mr. Gleason, great guy. But he's a fair guy. But one thing with Pennsylvania, they have a moral obligation, and I've heard it for a long time, that whoever wins, there's a moral obligation of the people, of the delegates, to vote for the person that wins. So today they announced I had like 52 or 54 out of the 70. But I said, what about the rest of them? Yeah, but I did say, I think they announced 54 today. So I win the state in a massive landslide. I got 17. And they have like 70 something. I said, wait a minute, I got 17 of them. But the good news is today, I think they announced I got an additional 34 or something. But here's the thing. But there's like 22 or 21 out there. I said, what about them? What about them? I won in a landslide. I won every county. I won everything. What about them? Well, we're working. It's a rigged system, folks. It's horrible. It's a horrible, horrible system. It's a horrible system. And it's done so that the bosses can pick whoever they want. Now, here's the only problem. I've been winning by so much that you can't. And you probably heard me say it a couple of times, I've said it, the boxer. I know a guy's a champ. I know all the boxers. I love the boxers. We love the boxers. There's a toughness, you know. And this is a champ, and he wants to fight in a certain territory where the challenger lives. And the challenge is very good and very popular. And it's a great area, a lot of money. And the champ wants to fight. I said, what are you, crazy? He said, you'll get a bad decision. If it goes, I said, no, you don't understand. There's one thing they can't do. If I knock him out, Mr. Trump, if I knock him on his ass and he's unconscious, there's nothing they can do, Mr. Trump. And that's what he did. He knocked him out. He knocked him out. And we're doing the same thing because I'm winning by millions of votes. And in fact, today, with a long way to go, although we don't have a long way if I can win in Indiana. I will do that. If we win in Indiana, it's over. But, you know, with a long way to go, millions and millions of votes. California, New Jersey, all great places. Great places. Oregon, state of Washington, and New Mexico, lots of states. But I have now broken the all-time record in the history of the Republican Party for votes. We've already gotten more votes than Mitt Romney got through the whole thing, who unfortunately let us down. He choked. What can I tell you? That was an election should have been won for. That was an election should have been won. You know, I backed him. We lost. I backed McCain. Nice guy, but we lost. I said, this time, folks, we're going to do it ourselves. Okay? We're doing it ourselves. But I'm watching the television this morning, and I see it in the papers. In the history of the primaries, it said, Donald Trump breaks the all-time record. I said, how can I break a record? We're like, 3/4 through. I got more votes, which to me means much more than delegates, to be honest with you. You know, it should be based on votes. Not based on people that are, they like a certain steak in a certain place. But with that, I have now a lot of loyal delegates. They've been great. But it should be based on votes. It should be more based on votes. All right. But what happens is, so I break the record, the all-time record. And I'm saying to myself, I can't believe it. In the history of Republican, Dwight Eisenhower, you look at some of the great names out there. And we've beaten them already. So we're going to break the record by millions of votes by the time it ends. By millions. And I'm saying to myself, how would you like to be the guy that's running the party, and Reince, I think, is a good guy, Reince Priebus. He runs our Republican National Committee. But how would you like to be the guy where Cruz goes around and, I would never use the word bribe. Some people would say bribes to delegates. I would never say a thing like that. But he gets, the steaks are really good, really expensive, or maybe the trips to Paris or whatever the hell they do. And they get these delegates on the second and the third and the fourth round. They're committed. Why? Because they like to have good meals, right? So, which I'm not doing. But I have the first. But let's say we're 20 short or 100 short. But let's say, and we're not going to be, we're going to get into the first, by the way, don't worry about it. I don't want to scare you. Don't worry about it. But let's say we were 30 or 40 or 100, let's say we're sure. Okay, so now you have Trump, who goes to the second. And I don't care about the second, right? I'm not playing for the second. That's why when you hear Cruz got delegates, did get, you got him for the second, third, fourth, and second. It doesn't mean anything if you win him first. How would you like to be the man that has to make the decision? When Trump got 5 million more votes, broke the all-time record in the history of the Republican Party in primaries, has 500 delegates more than Cruz, and beyond that with Kasich, okay, beyond that. I mean, you know, I've been calling Kasich 1 in 38. I actually think, including the islands, he's now 1 in 42. Okay, so I have millions of more votes, hundreds of more delegates. We go to a second ballot, and you put in a guy that lost by 5 million votes and hundreds of delegates. I don't think it can happen. I think there'd be a severe problem. No. How do you do that? How do you do it? If a man has, and then they do polls, and the polls are asking very specifically, if something like that should happen, what? They all, 72 or 74% say, you gotta go by whoever gets the most votes, which is really, I think, the right way. But, can you imagine that? Now, Cruz is no good at this stuff anyway. But can you imagine if he got 5 million votes less, 500 delegates less, and he becomes the nominee? And he's no good, he can't campaign properly, he doesn't speak properly, it doesn't work. So here's what he does. So he forms an alliance, right? A coalition. He forms an alliance. He colludes. It's called collusion. So he sees he's getting killed. He's getting absolutely annihilated in New York. Now he gets annihilated this last weekend, and this last week in 5 states. And he says, boy, I'm in trouble. And I'm going to Indiana, I'm in trouble. So what does he do? He gets Kasich to join together, stop trouble. And I see these negative ads, they're phony as hell. By the way, they're so wrong. A couple of them are right, but that's okay. But they're, for the most part, they're absolutely wrong. I mean, absolutely wrong. They're vicious and horrible. I'm watching television at my Holiday Inn Express. Everyone thinks I fly back home every night. No, they all say, these, you know, the liars back then, they say, Donald Trump gets in his 757 Boeing, and he flies back home. And then he comes, I don't want to fly for hours and back and forth. I don't even want to spend that money. You want to know the truth. I'm at a Holiday Inn. Can you believe I'm at a Holiday Inn? And I do it. And by the way, and I'm oftentimes at different places, a Marriott Courtyard. I mean, I know more about these hotels. In fact, if I lose, I'm going to start buying out some of these shades, I think. So at least I learned something. Oh, they're fine. But you ever notice they always say, Donald Trump has left Indiana and flown back home to Fifth Avenue, where he stood for the night or slept for the evening in his beautiful apartment. Then he got on the plane in the morning and he flew back to Indiana. Give me a break, okay? So it's just crazy. Okay. But this is the kind of stuff you hear. I call them, you have lying 10, but you have liars back there too. Big liars. No, it's been good. It's good. And I've enjoyed it. So here's the story, folks. So we have a rich system, we have a phony system, but we're beating it because we're doing so well and we're doing so much better. And we're going to end up winning, and we're going to make our country so strong, so wonderful, so great. You're going to be so proud. We got to get out of it. So they form, and I want to talk about jobs, but this is so interesting to me because it's such a con job. You know, I love seeing it. It's just like a total con. So now what happens? He's losing badly. So he forms this alliance with Kasich. You know, the man that eats like with large bites. You ever seen? News conference. Where do you want your news conference? Around my table as I stuff pancakes down my throat. I never seen. Seriously, did you ever see a guy eat like this? Honestly, I'm being honest. You know, you think, if I have cameras, I tell you, I have a lot of times where I have no choice and I'm sitting and cameras start forming and all, and usually I don't eat. I just sort of don't eat. Number one, I was taught, don't speak when you have a mouthful of food, by my mother, Mary McLeod. My mother said, don't ever eat with your mouth full, okay? And I've sort of remembered that, right? But, you know, I have a lot where there's no time, or they just come, you know, they're like brutal. They break through Secret Service, I mean, they can do anything. And all of a sudden I'm eating, and you know what I do? I stop eating, I talk. I don't eat. This guy is always, you ever notice, it's like he doesn't have press conferences. Every time you see him, he's eating. And he's stuffing his face. I've never seen the pizza. He ate a piece of pizza. I'm telling you, it was 4 or 5 inches long by 4 or 5 inches. And he couldn't get it in his mouth, and he's pushing it in with the fork, and he's got 20 cameras on. I don't understand. So what happens is Cruz called, or Casey called, or somebody called, and because it's a rigged business, and because it's a dishonest business, they say, hey, listen, Trump is beating us badly. We gotta do something. We gotta do something. And let's start with the people of Indiana, because they probably think you're stupid or foolish or something, and boy, do I know the opposite. Like, because as soon as I heard that, I said the people of Indiana are not going to put up with this one. So they form an alliance, which is collusion. You know, in business, when you collude like that, they throw you in jail. Only in politics are you allowed collusion, right? Only in politics. So they form this phony alliance. And Kasich is a difficult guy. He always pretends like he's the nicest guy. Oh, he's such a... You know why he's a nice guy? Because I was so busy fighting these 16 people, and nobody cared about him. He was always at the other side, right? Toward the end. Remember, I was center stage for every single debate. I won every debate. And I don't debate professionally. These guys every night get debating. I don't do that. But, look. Hey, folks, if we're smart, we're smart. Is that right? You're smart, we're smart. I have the smartest people. I have the most smart, and I have the smartest. So Kasich's over there, and nobody talks to him. And we're fighting. I'm fighting with Marco, I'm fighting with this one, I'm fighting with Cruz, I'm fighting with all of them. Right? And then one day he raised his mouth and I said, wait a minute. Weren't you a managing partner of Lehman Brothers, Kasich? Weren't you a managing partner of Lehman Brothers? And Lehman Brothers failed and almost took down the world? Wasn't that you? You were a managing partner of Lehman Brothers. And Lehman Brothers almost took down the world. And after that, he never spoke badly to me again. It's amazing. He was quiet. It's amazing. Amazing. So he was at the end of the stage, and I'm fighting, and I'm calling names, and they're calling names. Everybody's calling names. Okay. And we all look like we're like little crazy, right? But you have to. My wife said, people are presidential. I said, I don't want to be presidential. I want to win. I got to win. Okay? You know what presidential is? They're calling your names and you're standing here like this. I'm the president. I should not fight back. In the meantime, you get your ass kicked, okay? I have a feeling that the great Bobby Knight would fight back like I did. Don't we have that feeling? So Kasich is never picked on. He's never talked about. Nobody cared about him. And then all of a sudden, it's a win. Guys are dropping out. This one leaves. Some terrific people that really did much better than he did. Ben Carson, Dr. Ben Carson. Who endorsed him. Okay, come on.
We got to talk about this presidential crap just for a moment here. Just that you older folks remember this, your mothers, fathers have taught you this. I'll tell you who they said wasn't presidential. I don't even know what the hell presidential means, but they told him that he wasn't presidential. And that guy they told, all these people that wanted to say you're not presidential, that guy was Harry Truman. And Harry Truman, with what he did in dropping and having the guts to drop the bomb in 1944, saved billions of American lives. And that's what Harry Truman did, and he became one of the 3 great presidents of the United States. And here's a man who would do the same thing because he's going to become one of the 4 great presidents of the United States.
How do you top that? What a great guy. You should be very proud of him in Indiana. This is the place he loves more than any place in the world. Okay, you've got to be very proud of that guy. That is a national treasure, okay? So anyway, and by the way, does Bobby love it? Is he having a good time too? We're all having a good time. We're talking about a bad subject because our country's in trouble. But when you say make America great again, one of the reporters said, that's a very negative statement. I said, no, you have to understand. That's a very positive thing. It's very positive, it's not negative. It's positive, and it's meant to be, because that's what's going to happen. We're going to make America great again. So that's it. But anyway, so they formed this alliance, and it's like a disaster. And 11 o'clock, one of my people call up at my place, and I'm a worker like you. You know, if it's 11, if it's 12, it's 2 in the morning, that's okay. We work, right? Whatever it is. They need a statement because they just formed this alliance. I said, you have to be kidding. That makes them look weak. It makes Cruz look totally desperate. It makes them look like they're trying to take advantage of the people of Indiana. And you know, Kasich said, before the ink was dry, and not that they used ink, but before the ink was dry, Kasich said, well, I still want them to vote for me. In other words, he broke the deal. They're politicians. They can't make deals. They don't know how to make deals. So Cruz now looks like a fool. And I said the other thing. How unfair is it to K6 people? He has people like we all do running around trying to get people to vote, right? A lot of people, a lot of money, a lot of people. So now he fires all those people. Now they go on, they say, what happened? And I saw a couple of them interviewed, just like our man back there, and they were interviewed. They said, we're voting for Trump. They worked for Kasich, and they said, we're voting for Trump. We're voting for Trump. So they're out there fighting for him, and that's the first time they formed this alliance. It's a disaster. I mean, I haven't seen any polls yet, and maybe I'll be wrong, and maybe they'll be up 200 points. I have a feeling it's not a good thing. And Cruz looks like a fool because he can't make a deal. He can't make it. He doesn't know the first thing about deal making. He did not write the art of the deal. Number one, folks. So here's the story. So that's bad. So now he's got to recover. What does he do to recover? He gets Carly Fiorina. Now Carly, and she's very nice, everything's fine. Carly got out. She had no standing. I mean, she had the one good debate on the children's stage, not on our stage. She was on the children's stage. Remember, she didn't debate against me. I beat Cruz 11 times in debating, according to Drudge, according to Time Magazine, according to 7 different online polling services. And then the other day I said, I would like to debate Donald Trump. I beat him 11 times. How many times can you ask somebody the same question? You know, I don't mind debating. I like to debate. I actually enjoyed the debating process. But I hear, we want to debate. And I mean, the whole thing is so crazy. So what does he do? He now goes out and gets Carly, who left the race because she had no votes. She had nothing. And that's okay. She's a nice woman. But it's not going to help. It's not going to help. And I said yesterday, this was like the most voted statement. I said he broke a record, right? I said it's the first time in the history of the United States where somebody running for president who has no mathematical chance of getting elected. Zero path. He lost that 2 weeks ago. So he has 0 chance of getting elected. He announced who his vice president of the United States is going to be, folks. First time in history. My vice president will be, he can't get elected. So that's, okay. So here's what we're doing. We're going to make our country, and you have to do this because we have that movement. We're the cover of Time Magazine. I'm the messenger. I'm a good messenger, but I'm the messenger. We're going to do something very special. I got a call, and I've told this story, from one of the top writers in the world. And he said, how does it feel, Mr. Trump? I don't know. How does it feel? And I said, how does what feel? He said, what you've done has never been done before in the history of our country. And I sort of understand it. You know, first of all, what does that mean? But when you look outside and you have thousands of people outside, and then you look, because after I'm finished with you, I am going over to your other 4,000 person room, and then I'm going to try and go outside. But we have a room this size right next door where, you know, they're watching this whole thing on the screen. But he said, how does it feel? And I said, wow. He goes, what you've done's never been done, and it's amazing. I said, it's only amazing if I win. If I lose, I've wasted a lot of time. He said, no. If you win, if you lose, it doesn't matter. He said, if you lose, you've done something that in the history of our country has never, you've changed the whole process. I said, let me just tell you something. I appreciate you saying that, but if I don't win, and that means nomination, but it means beating crooked Hillary Clinton and becoming president. So we can really effectuate the right things, they get our country going again and take our jobs back and strengthen our military and all of the things. Right? I said, if I don't win all the way, then I will consider it a tremendous waste of time, energy, and money, because I'm self-funding. I'm self-funding. So it's money. It's my money. It's not somebody sending in checks all over the place. I mean, they had one gentleman. I don't talk about people that we've defeated because I like them all. Every time we defeated somebody, I like them. Okay? It's amazing how competition works. I'm sure it's the same with Bobby. He can't stand it, then he beats him. Hey, coach, great job, great coaching job tonight, folks. You know, we beat him, Bobby will say, we beat him by 40 points. Hey, I love him. But when you defeat somebody, you feel a little bit differently. But one of them had $168 million in a fund. And I was first and spent almost nothing. And that person was like last. And I said to myself, who do you want as president? I mean, is that what you want? Who do you want as president? So here's the story. You got to go out on Tuesday, you got to vote. We are going to make things so good. When companies leave Indiana, when they leave our country, when they leave, there are going to be consequences. I've been watching for years as the politicians, because this has been going on for 5 or 6 years, I've been watching for years as politicians have come up with these tremendous, I went to Wharton, I understand complexity, I love best business school in the world. But you know what? Hardest to get into. Hardest. But you know what? I'll tell you what. I've been watching for years as they try and think, well, we're going to give tax incentives, and we're going to give this, and we're going to loan low-interest loans. We're going to, so complicated. Can you imagine government guys, let's say we'll give you a low-interest loan. No. When Carrier leaves, and they want to move to Mexico, you're going to tell them, I'm sorry, folks, but enjoy your stay in Mexico. Every unit you make that comes across my now very powerful border, because we will build a wall. And don't forget, last week, the Border Patrol agents, 16,500. In the history, they've never done this. They endorsed Donald Trump for president. They've never done it. And these are great people. But they're told to stand back, let people come across. And Sheriff Joe Arpaio endorsed him. So, I mean, he's a great guy, very tough, and Jan Brewer, all great people. Because they want to have borders. If we don't have borders, we don't have a country. We don't have a country. So I'm going to tell Carrier, and I have Carl Icahn, one of the great businessmen of the world, and I have many of the top business people in the world endorsing me, right? They've endorsed me. And they know what's going on. Corporate inversions are a disaster. There's companies that are leaving. Billions and trillions of dollars are outside. They can't even bring the money back in because the politicians can't get together and everybody agrees it should be brought back in. So here's what's the story. We tell Carrie, I'd like to do it myself. They always tell my wife, I want to do it myself. She said, delegate it. I want to do it myself. It's so easy. Too easy. I love doing this stuff. You know, I love it. I love flavor. I love it. Believe me, I'm going to make our nation so rich again. Because, you know, unless we're rich, we can't be strong. We can't be strong. So we're going to say to whoever heads up Carrier, who I'm not particularly fond with right now, not a particularly fond, I don't have great feelings about him. So we're going to say every unit you make and bring it to the United States, you're going to pay a 35% tax. And we can say that to Ford, and we can say that to Nabisco, who moved their big plant out of Chicago. 35% tax. And here's what's going to happen. If they haven't already moved, many of them have already gone. If they haven't already moved, they're going to call up. And if they have Hillary or any of these other guys, their lobbyists or their special interests, they have them totally under control. They won't do anything, 100%. With me, I'm working for you folks. I'm not getting involved. I'm not. So here's what's going to happen. They're going to call up and they're going to try and talk to me. I won't even take the phone call. Say, do it, take it, or leave it. You know the old expression? We don't use it in this country very much. Take it or leave it. They'll say, Mr. President, we've decided to stay in Indiana. 100%. Not 90%. We've decided. Now, it was already too late because, you know, I'm just getting here, folks. A lot of companies have left. Big companies. But they're not going to take advantage of us anymore. So when a company moves out of Indiana or any of our other states, There are going to be consequences. And we don't have to get fancy, and we don't have to talk about low interest loans that maybe they don't pay back. We don't have to do anything. All we have to do is use our powers. And again, I am a free trader on the record. The problem with free trading is you need smart people to negotiate good deals. We don't have those people. We have people that don't have a clue. We have people that are grossly incompetent. So our trade deals are going to be so good and they're going to be so strong. I met a woman, a fantastic woman. She heard my speech a couple of months ago. She said, Mr. Trump, I love what you say. You are so terrific. The only thing I don't like when you say, and I'm voting for you. She said, but I don't like when you say, we're going to make America rich again. Because that doesn't sound nice. I said, it sounds nice to me. Because we can't, and I explained to them, we can't make our country great unless we're going to bring back our jobs and bring back our money and get rid of, we have 19 trillion in debt. We have health care that nobody can afford. We have horrible schooling. We have horrible roads. Our infrastructure's dying. Our bridges are unsafe. I said, we have to make ourselves viable again. We're not viable. So here's the story, folks. We're going to make great trade deals. We're not going to let China have a $300 billion and a $400 billion, and now it's up to $500 billion trade deficit. $505 billion. $505 billion. Mexico, $58 billion trade deficit. And then they say, one of these guys comes off the stage 2 months ago and said to me, Donald, you know you can't build a wall. I said, of course you can. Okay, you know that story. Believe me, that's so easy. But for a politician, they can't do that. They'll never be able to do it. Then another guy comes up a few weeks later because I said Mexico's going to pay for the wall. And I get along great with Mexico. But, you know, they've taken advantage because their leaders are smarter, tougher, they have more street smarts. And what they're doing just is unbelievable. I mean, and look at the trade deficit, just the trade deficit alone. And they came and said, you know you can't get Mexico to pay for the wall. Then I said, listen, I'm not going to help you get elected. But here's the story. You're going to hear me say it anyway, and they won't copy me. This morning I heard Cruz say, we will build a wall. I said, where's this coming from? Cruz, he said he's going to build a wall. What happened? Where did it come from? Okay, but I told him, I said, we have a trade deficit of $58 billion a year. And it's going to go up. It's going up, unless I'm elected president. It's not going up, believe me, folks. It's going down. But we have a big trade deficit. We have a wall that's going to cost $10 billion. When you have that kind of a deficit and that kind of a cost, the worst business person in this room can make that deal really easy, believe me, really easy. So we're going to have strong borders, and we're going to have people come into our country because we want that. And we want immigration. We want people to come in to our country, but they have to come in legally. They have to come in legally. So our country doesn't win anymore. We used to win all the time. We used to have General Patton, George. He couldn't be a general today, he's too tough. He'd be screaming at his men, they'd say, you can't do that, that's not politically correct. They'd throw him out of the military. He'd use a foul, he had a tendency to use slightly foul language. The great thing about Bobby Knight, I'll bet he never used foul language. Do we agree? Yeah, Bobby, I would say a little bit. I've heard on television a little bit of the language. These are great people. A guy like George Patton, General George Patton, he was a rough guy. His troops would die for him. They'd die for him. Vince Lombardi, they'd die for Bobby Knight. They'd die for these people. Okay? And here's the story. We are going to have a military that's going to be so strong, so powerful, so great. We are going to, as I said, we're going to take care of our cherished veterans. We're going to take care of them. And, folks, we don't win anymore, but we're going to start winning. We're going to win with our military. We're going to knock the hell out of ISIS. We're going to take care of them. We're going to get rid of Common Core, bring education locally. We're going to win with education. We're going to get rid of Obamacare. We're going to come up with plans that are so good and so much better and so much less expensive. We're going to win on the border. We're going to win, and we're going to build the wall. And believe me, Mexico's going to pay for the wall. We're going to stop drugs from pouring in. And we're going to win with great, great trade deals. We're not going to let the entire world rip us off anymore. And speaking of our military, we're defending the whole world, and they think we're all a bunch of jerks. From now on, we want to help everybody, but they have to help us, and they're going to have to help us monetarily when we defend them. Big one. So, people don't even know. We defend Germany, we defend Japan, we defend South Korea, we defend Saudi Arabia. They were making with a good oil price, now they're still making a fortune. They were making $1 billion a day, and we pay rent on basis. We pay rent. Okay? Those days are all done. And you know what? These countries will like us more with me as president than they do now, and they're ripping us. So here's the story, folks. We're going to start winning again. And we're going to win so much. We're just going to win, and I love doing this, so we'll do it. People say, like, we're going to win. We're going to win with the military. We're going to win with trade. We're going to win. That some people are going to go, no, Mr. President, please, sir, we can't take it anymore. We don't want to win so much. We're not used to it. We're used to winning.